If you guys want one-on-one training, online training, or nutritional coaching, please head on over to my website, jpfitnesspro.com. Just go to the services tab and select which one you would like. You can also subscribe to my newsletter and contact me through my website as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks. Hey, what is up, you guys? I had one person ask me about this recently, and I've had a few people over time ask me about this, and I feel like it's probably going to keep coming up, and I definitely don't mind talking about it. So I thought I'd do a video about my time in the Marine Corps. So what happened was, in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and as you may all know, so far, is that I'm from the United States and I'm from California, and those of you who go to or who are in the United States know that military recruiters are constantly at high schools and they're in the presence of you all the time. You probably run into them growing up, and you just run into them. You kind of make contact with them. So when I was in high school, I would always joke around about how I was never going to join the military, and I actually talked to my parents about this a couple times. Like, I remember one time I tricked them, and I went home, and I think it was like 12, 13. I told them how I wanted to be in the military, but I was just joking. I wanted to see what they would say, and they just said, "Oh, okay, if that's what you want to do." But I was just joking. I don't know why. I just wanted to see the reaction. But eventually, going through high school, I had a couple of the recruiters hit me up, just telling me, the whole gig that they got to do. They got to talk to you and, try to get you in. And, they essentially like a salesman for the government, kind of. That's what a recruiter is. They're trying to recruit people. That's their goal. They have a quota to hit, a number of people that got to get in the military. So, I don't know. I guess just one day they hit me up, and I never thought I would, but I was like, well, let me look into it. I looked into it, and and this was without them trying to sell me or anything. I just looked it up on my own, and I just looked up what the Marine Corps was all about. And I told myself that if I was going to be in the military, that I was definitely going to be in the hardest branch. I didn't want to be in, I didn't want to just do it for the college and this stuff like that. I didn't want to. I feel like I obviously that's going to be a plus for anyone going in, is the medical and, all the college and the benefits you get in general. But I was going to tell myself, I can't just go in for that. To me, that's something that I can get just by working hard. And if I want to go into the military, I just wanted to be challenged. I want to be, I like challenges. It was just, I guess that was my main reason for going in the Marine Corps. I'm going to go into a branch. I want to go in the hardest one by far. And that's what I did. I talked to the recruiter. And after doing, all the stupid shit you do in high school, just being a little kid, I went in, I just told the recruiter what was up, and then eventually I got shipped off to MCRD San Diego. I don't know if they changed it, but everyone west of the Mississippi River, from what I remember, went to MCRD San Diego, and everyone east of the Mississippi River went to Parris Island. So if you guys didn't know, there's two major depots for recruits to go through boot camp to obviously become Marines. And the two major spots are San Diego and then Parris Island. I went to San Diego, obviously being from California. And it was a big trip. So what had happened was I went in, and you do the whole bus ride. You go through all the little shit you got to do at MEPS, and get all the paperwork done, the blood work done, and you do all the whole shebang of all the annoying shit you got to do, all the paperwork shit. And then after, I think it was like a day or two, I can't remember, it was like 5 years ago, you go on a bus early in the morning, and I think it was early in the morning. It takes you to the depot, and then you've seen the videos, you can look them up on YouTube. Yes, a drill instructor does come on the bus, screams at you, is going nuts, and then you'll get off the bus real fast, and then you step on, the infamous yellow footprints. They explain more stuff, you talk to you. You have a couple of the receiving drill instructors just yelling at you, going nuts, walking through the lines, and it's very intense. It's just like what you see on YouTube, except on YouTube and those videos, I'm just being honest. They can't say certain things because they know they're being filmed. When it's not being filmed, they're a little bit more. They're a little bit more vibrant with their language. That's how I put it. But yeah, they do say a little bit more on their mind, and yeah, you just do stuff. I remember one of the main things that stood out is there was a line of recruits, and there was one drill instructor making one of the new recruits count the line over and over and over, and every single time he would count the line, I don't know if the guy was nervous, but he'd mess up or something. He'd stutter, and then he would make him count it again. And then, like, I think a couple times I remember him counting it all the way, but he didn't do it fast enough, and he making it count it again. And I just realized that they turn very simple things into very crazy things. I just remember the kid looking. I'm like, man, he's been counting for like 20 minutes, just like sprinting, like walking up and down and sprinting, running, walking, just counting. I'm like, eventually you almost feel like you're going to lose your mind. Just little things they make you do. But again, that's the whole point, is they want to test your patience, you know, very, very testy with your patience. But I did the whole receiving thing. You go through your whole, like, when you first get there, you're up for like a day and a half, 2 days. Yeah, something like that, a day and a half. That's what I remember. I remember not sleeping for a while. It was like a day and a half. And then, yeah, you're just tired as shit when you first get to sleep. So yeah, when you first sleep, you knock out. And then during this whole time, this first day and a half, you're getting all your shit. You're getting all the gear and equipment you're going to use for later on in training. You know, you're going to have a lot of stuff you're going to get, just little things you use, tape, just tape, shit you use, sweater, your utilities, your boots, all these things. I can't remember what order we got them in, but during that day and a half, you're just getting situated, kind of. You have a receiving drill instructor, so you have one drill instructor that stays with you until you get into your company. Your company is not, you don't get to pick your company, but eventually you go to you've probably heard before is that you've heard of the Black Friday is what happens. So essentially you meet your drill instructors, and then, yep, it's just like what it is on Black Friday. They go nuts on you. They destroy all this shit in there. They're throwing it. And I don't know, yeah, it's like weird. It's when you're watching it, you think, oh, that looks intimidating, but you think that you're going to react a certain way. You think that you're going to handle it better. And it's kind of like that famous quote from Mike Tyson, is that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. You know, you've seen the video of the bus and the yellow footprints and receiving, and then the Black Friday where you meet your drill instructors and they start screaming at you. You think that you're going to handle it better, but when you're there, you're a lot more nervous. You are, trust me. Everyone there was nervous because it's actually, you know, it's reality. People take for granted the little things they do at home, and going to sit down and play a video game, or going to the store to get a soda, or eating when you want, going to the bathroom when you can't just do that. So, yeah, that's kind of like, you are nervous. I was nervous. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. So I go through all that. It goes to Black Friday, and I get through that. Actually, no, did I even... I don't even know if I made it to... Yeah, I went through Black Friday that time. I did. It was the second time I didn't go through Black Friday. So I went through Black Friday, and then we were like... It was like... I don't know what day it was, but we had gone through the first few days of training. We hadn't been... I think we've been able to get IT'd. Because IT is called incentive training. Basically, they... mind my language, but they fuck you up if you do something bad. So if you do something that you're not supposed to do, they'll send you to the front of the squad bay or the quarter deck, and then they'll make you do like jumping jacks, up downs, planks, and a bunch of other dumb shit that I don't even want to get into, but shit you don't want to do. I don't know if I made it to the point where they're allowed to IT you, because they're not allowed to IT you for like the first couple of days, and then they're given the ability to, and that's when it just starts to really, really, really suck. But what happened was, early on in your training, because you have three main phases, you're at MCRD for phase 1, then you go to Camp Pendleton for phase 2, and you go back to MCRD for phase 3. It was like the first week of phase 1, we have the obstacle course. All recruits go through the obstacle course. It's just an obstacle course with bars, poles, wooden logs, and at the end of it's a rope that you have to climb. And what happened was, obviously, being in boot camp, they're going to yell at you and scream at you and go nuts and tell you to hurry up. And it was time for the obstacle course, and you wait in line, and it was my turn, and I'm going through the obstacle course, and I climb over. There's like one bar. You can actually look this up on YouTube. Maybe I'll link it in the description just so you guys can see what obstacle course I'm talking about. But there's like one bar you gotta like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly in my head, but there's like 2 bars you gotta like hop over. One you gotta jump up, grab, you gotta like put your foot over and spin over. You have to go over the bar. You can't just, you can't run under it. They won't let you, they'll make you go back. And then they'll just make you do it over and over and over. And then you go over that bar, and there's like a couple of logs you have to like hop over or go under. Just go around. And then there's one log like horizontally, and there's planks. There's like planks that go from one plank to another plank. You kind of have to like walk the plank. You have to walk the plank, like, and it's going up at an angle. And it starts off fairly low. It's not super high, but you walk up the plank and you get to another horizontal plank that you can kind of step on. And at this point, I think you're like 5 to 8 feet off the ground. You're not too high, but it's like a distance that you can't just step off of. If you jump off, you're gonna have to like control your jump. And then there was this log that was about 5 to 8 feet high. I can't remember. It wasn't too high, but this log you had to like jump over, and then like you have to like put your leg over and roll, let your legs go, and then drop down. That's how you're supposed to do it. But the thing is, you have drill instructors yelling at you, and when I first seen it, I was a little intimidated because like I thought if I jump over this log and I don't do it right, I'm gonna land face first on the ground. And obviously I'm not trying to land 6-7 feet onto my face. It's just not what I want to do. And it was kind of scary a little bit. I'm not afraid of heights or anything, but it's just when you have so much shit going on, someone behind you, someone ahead of you, a drill instructor yelling at you, on the ground, it was like the shredded tire material. So it was like not like I'd break my arm. It's not like I'd hurt myself. Like, it's not like I'm landing on concrete, but I still don't want to land my face on it. I don't want to land my face on a mattress, I mean, from that high. It's just not, I would break my neck or something. But it was just intimidating. So I like jumped on the log, and my arms were already stretched out when I jumped the log. So I jumped and my arms were stretched out. So I couldn't stretch them out anymore. To stretch them out, I had to like pull my arms back. But at that point, I started sliding backwards, and I landed back on the plank behind me. And then he kept yelling at me like, go, go, go. And then so I mean, there was nothing else I could fucking do. So I just jumped up, had my hands over again, and the same exact thing happened. I didn't jump far enough because I was afraid of overdoing it. Then I started to slide back again, and this time I didn't land on the plank behind me. I landed between the plank and the log. And I slid down and I landed, but when I landed, my knee, instead of my knee going front to back, because remember, on the bottom of the course was like soft material. But the problem with that was the soft material helps with like blunt force trauma. But because it wasn't an even surface, my knee went side to side. And to tell you what I injured, I tore my ACL, and then I tore my meniscus on both sides. So I completely destroyed my knee. And they ended up telling me later on it was the doctor said it was one of the worst he's seen from recruit training and tearing your ACL. He said I just completely destroyed my knee. I think I partially tore my MCL as well. And then I had a small fracture at the top of my tibia. But anyways, I knew something was wrong immediately because it felt like jello and I felt wobbly. And I don't blame him, but the drill instructor thought I was full of shit. He told me to walk this way, walk that way. He's like, walk over there. He said something at the beginning when I told him. He thought I was bullshitting because you probably get a lot of people doing that. And then when he seen me walking and limping horribly, he told me to go over there. And then he sent me to the corpsman. The corpsman checked me out. He laid me down, and then he like pulled my shin. It's like a test they do to see if you have like a tug. Because if I'm not mistaken, your ACL is a ligament, your anterior cruciate ligament that attaches your femur to or it's one of the ligaments that attach your femur to your tibia. So if you pull someone's like shin, their tibia, and you feel a tug, obviously it's helping that you'll know that their ACL's there. But when he pulled it, there was no give. It just kind of went forward. And then he told them like, nah, this is a serious injury. It's probably his ACL. And then I remember the chief drill instructor at the time told me because I was Echo Company. I didn't mention that earlier, but the chief drill instructor told me that I better hope it's not an ACL because if it is, I'm going to be here for a long, long time. And right then, man, it was fucking terrible. I mean, it kind of felt like my whole world was crashing down. I'm not going to lie. Like, you think 3 months, like, I'm not saying boot camp is the hardest thing that you'll do in the Marine Corps. It's not. 100 times not. You'll hear a lot of older Marines talk shit. Oh, boot camp's nothing. I'm not saying it is, but from when you're a civilian to when you go into boot camp, it's already pretty hard because you go from being a dirty civilian to something very hard. But when they told me that when he said that to me as I was driving away in the little cart, it was kind of, yeah, it was honestly, it felt like everything was kind of crashing down. Then when I go in, yeah, they couldn't give me an immediate answer, but they basically told me that, I mean, we're going to have to do an MRI, but we are almost sure it's your ACL. Yeah, then they gave me an MRI, it was my ACL, and they told me all the shit that was wrong with my knee. And then that's when they told me what was up. They said, look, you have to get surgery if you want to stay in boot camp. You have to. We can't let you go back to training with a knee like this. Your knee's too messed up. And I said, okay, but they said, we can't force you to get surgery either. If you can deny surgery, but if you deny surgery, we're going to have to send you home. Yeah, that's basically what's going to have to happen. And then they said, you can think on it, but you're going to have to give us an answer pretty soon. And I thought, and because again, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that it didn't cross my mind. But then after thinking about it, I couldn't quit because I felt like if I quit, I would have felt too disappointed in myself. So after like a little bit of thought, I just said, fuck it, I'll be too disappointed with myself if I quit. And I just didn't want to be a quitter, even though it's hard. I took the surgery and boom. I got my surgery within a month and a half. It took me a month and a half to get it, which is fairly quick for surgeries. Sometimes I've seen other guys come into MRP. MRP is called the Medical Rehabilitation Platoon. It's the platoon where all the broken recruits go when they get broken in training like me. Not everyone who broke had the same problem as I did. They have stress fractures were one of the most common injuries. So what happened was when I went to MRP, yeah, it took me a month and a half to get my surgery. Some people took 3 or 4 months to get there, so I was lucky. They just said because mine was so bad, they wanted to get it in as soon as possible. And then from there, it was just a rehabilitation process, doing a lot of physical therapy, working with athletic trainers to get my knee back up, doing a lot of different exercises, treadmills, balancing exercises, just strengthening it, getting the joint to be able to move again. I had to use a Dynasplint to get my legs straight. Yeah, and then just rehabilitation. And if you guys didn't know, ACL and both meniscus recovery combined, I don't know which one's the longest one, but essentially both recovery took 9 months. So you think of the 9 months that I was stuck in MRP, where I had to go from MRP, I got pneumonia once in there because MRP is the broken people, but it's also the really sick people. Some people come to boot camp and get really fucking sick, like bad sicknesses. They just get really sick and they have to go to STC is the whole company, special training company. And STC, you have MRP, you have PCP, which is for the physical conditioning platoon, for people who need to recondition and go back to training. And it's also the platoon where if a kid comes to training and there's nothing wrong with him, he's just fat or out of shape, they send him to PCP. But then there's also, I forgot what it's called, there's the sick platoon where they kind of quarantine them. But there was a point when I was in there where they couldn't quarantine them because that second deck was being redone. So I ended up getting pneumonia from one of the sick kids because I don't know, his dumbass was just walking around. But so yeah, I during the rehabilitation I had to do that. I got pneumonia once, and it was full on pneumonia. They had to do a chest X-ray and everything, and I think it was an X-ray, but they told me I had pneumonia. I had to take medication for it. I felt like shit. And then yeah, I did all my rehabilitation, and the funny part is I actually ended up going back into the same company that I was originally in Echo Company again. And another funny part is I actually had one of the drill instructors that I had the original time. He went from a kill hat to a J hat. If you don't know what a kill hat is, you have multiple drill instructors on a platoon. The kill hat's the one that doesn't talk to you at all. It doesn't say shit to you. And if you try to say something to him, you probably just get yelled at. And then he's just the kind of guy that just fucks you up. He's the one who ITs you, does a bunch of dumb shit. Then you have the J hat, who's kind of like, he disciplines you a lot, but he's the leader, essentially. He teaches you drill. He's kind of like, I want to say like the dad of the platoon, but he's the one who's teaching you. That's different from a senior drill instructor, which some of you might have said, oh, that sounds like I'm talking about a senior drill instructor, which I'm not. I feel like that's a little bit differently. The J hat is like, he's still a drill instructor and he'll still mess you up, but he has to at least talk to you to tell you stuff. But he originally started as a kill hat, and then when I went back, like a year later back on a training, I had him in my platoon again. and they ended up making me guide, and I graduated as guide of the platoon, which is funny. I just feel like it was funny how the whole thing planned out. But when I went back, he was a J-hat. So we went from kill hat to J-hat. So I remember seeing him where he just was yelling at everybody, going nuts. And then he was the J-hat where he'd actually, you know, be a little bit more reasonable and talk to you. And then, so essentially I had a couple weeks. I was there before I hurt my knee. I had a month and a half before I had surgery. I had a 9-month recovery. And then I had the rest of boot camp to finish. And because I was only in training for like 2 weeks, maybe, I think it was like 10 days, I had essentially 3 months of training left. So, which really sucked because I was scared the entire time that I was going to tear my ACL again. Yep, it was a long run. It fucking sucked. I had to stay on base the entire time. My parents actually got to come on, my family actually got to come on base one time, a couple of them. I didn't get to leave base, but they were working with me a little bit. So they got to come on base for one day, one time, for me to actually go out in the base and hang out with them. One other time, they got to come, but it was for like some Mothers of America thing, and they came in to say hi and what's up because, you know, I'm broken. But for me actually being able to go off onto the base, but a different side of the base, only one time. So essentially, the entire time I was there, just on base, I never got to leave the base one time, except unless it was to medical, I guess. I got to go to the Navy hospital, like, I don't know, like 20 minutes away, because I had to do my appointments for my knee. But other than that, for like fun or just leaving, I never got to leave. There was no TV, obviously. Get to read books. Yeah, read books. Occasionally, we get to watch a movie. Yeah, there was a couple times someone did something stupid and we ended up getting punished. And they punish you in different ways because they can't make you run. Other than that, it kind of felt like jail. I mean, from what people describe jail, you just work out a lot. You get 3 meals. You have to be walked to the meal. Yeah, just doing the regular stuff. I learned a lot from it. It was really hard. You see a lot of guys go in there and they claim, they say that they're going to commit suicide because they can't take it. I never was at that point, but it was hard. I was scared when I went back that my knee was going to give out again. I had a lot of drill instructors give me respect, to be honest, because they said, well, I can tell, they told me, they're like, you know, even though you're a recruit, we respect you. When you're in STC, they kind of treat you a little bit more reasonably because they know you're not actually in training. When you go back to training, it's completely different. But STC, they're a little bit more calm. Now, they're still drill instructors and they're still Marines, but they're a little bit more calm. Overall, I feel like I learned a lot. It was really hard. I ended up graduating. After I went back, I graduated as guide. I took that whatever time off they have between graduation and then your secondary training, whether that be ITV or whether that be I forget. I think it's you have 2 different types of training. I forgot what the other one's called. It's for everyone else who's not going to be grunt or going to in grunt MOS. If you're not going to go into an infantry MOS, but I was going to be security forces, so I had to go through ITB because you do 3 years security forces, 2 years infantry. So yeah, I had to go through ITB. I think it was MCT, Marine Combat Training, MCT. Yeah, so I was going to go, I went to ITB, and then within a couple weeks of going to ITB, I ended up re-injuring my knee, and this was in 2013, and the Marine Corps was downsizing at the time. So they basically said, look, your knee keeps messing up, we have to medically, we're pushing out the Marine Corps for medical reasons. It was an honorable discharge, it was just medical. I got partial benefits because I wasn't in for 2 years, I was like 19, 20 months I was in, so it was just past a year and a half. And yeah, that was the end of that story. I mean, I really ended it short. I didn't get to do much in there, and I just gave it my all, though. I didn't quit. I just kept going until really my body couldn't keep going, and that's what everyone tells me. They said, hey, at least you give it a shot. At least you graduated. You still became a Marine. You earned the title, and no one can take that away from you, and that's what I really think. If you guys have any questions about when I was in, if you guys want more stories, I guess there's a lot of stuff that happened that I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview of why I was in boot camp for so long. But there's a billion stories I could tell you that were in there. If you guys want more videos like this, please tell me that you do down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.